Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to go over my top 10 most used champions on my account. So I have a pretty endgame account, as you guys might know, but not all the champions in this game are obviously used to the same extent as some champions. So maybe by showing you guys what champions I use the most, gives you an idea of what to expect for your accounts as you start progressing through the mid and late and end game for your account. So you guys can kind of see where certain champions are used, how often they are used, and which ones you can probably safely invest in and be totally confident that you'll get maximum value from your champions as you progress through the game. So let's jump right into it. All right, guys, so I got a very sophisticated way of keeping track of the top 10 for you guys. It's going to be in the top left-hand corner here. And we're going to start off with number 10. So this is one of my 10th most used in terms of frequency, in terms of areas of the game. And I'm going to rank Ethos as my 10th most used champion on a daily basis. So basically my Ethos is geared out to be my campaign farmer. He can farm obviously all difficulties of campaign, so he can farm nightmare campaign in 6 or 7 seconds. He's also my minotaur farmer, so he basically can farm scrolls for up to 4 champions by himself. So it's very important, and I do use this guy on a daily basis. And until I pulled Georgid, he was actually my main attack AoE champion in Classic Arena for a long time. So Ethos definitely belongs here. I use him basically every day for a campaign. And he's also great in like Doom Tower waves and stuff. So he's just really good for wave clearing content. His multiple AoEs makes him very, very versatile. He just doesn't hit hard enough for like super top end arena, but he still does very quick work of any kind of wave content in the game for me. So he comes in here at number 10. All right, guys. So coming in at number 9, I got Ghostborn. So Ghostborn is a dark elf champion. And he basically brings AoE decreased defense and increased attack on a single move. The decreased defense is really good because it can't be resisted. So the way I use Ghostborn, I'm sure a lot of people that use Ghostborn frequently, they basically use him so that his decreased defense cannot be resisted. It increases the consistency and clear times of any kind of team that requires decreased defense to be landed. Also, the increased attack also helps your attack based champions out a little bit, just to help clear the waves. So for example, I use Ghostborn with Seer, and the decreased defense is very helpful just to maintain the consistency, no resistance, so it can't be resisted, and then it just helps Seer make sure she goes through the waves every time, 100% of the time, no issues there. Otherwise a pretty good champion, but nothing too insane. But for this one instance where he cannot be resisted on his AoE decreased defense, it makes him quite special and quite a necessity for people that are looking for that 100% consistent decreased defense. So he comes in at number 9. All right, coming in here at number 8, I have actually an epic Seer. We all know Seer. Seer is the void epic that just absolutely obliterates waves when you set her up properly. So here's my Seer. Basically what I have her doing is basically just doing max crit damage so that her Kyrmar burn deals tons of damage, removing buffs from your own team, and then the buffs translate into enemy max HP damage. So once you gear her out properly, she can just make quick work of any wave that she's up against. And you know, she has made lots of impact on my roster, of course, when I first got her. Currently she's in my Trunkheart team, my Ice Golem team. Both of them are the fast versions. Like I have slower versions of them where I do like solo farming But Seer is part of the fastest teams I have for those dungeons, so Dragon and Ice Golem. So she's a big part of those teams, obviously. So yeah, Seer comes in here at number 8, most used on my account. All right, so coming in at number 7, we actually have Mr. Raach himself. So here's my Raach. Basically, Raach can be used in so many different areas depending on your progression in your game. He could be used for clan boss, he could be used for Hydra, he can be used for basically all the dungeons except for like Fire Knight, I guess. And of course in arena he's not going to be that great, but this is my Raach. I use him to basically solo Ice Golem levels. He's also part of my Ice Golem hard 10 speed team. I also use him in my spider team, so he gets lots and lots of action. I also can use him for like Hydra, but I don't really need his damage anymore, so I don't use him there anymore. He can also be used for Dragon to support, for example, like Mithrala, to do like some dual teams to clear Dragon hard 9, for example, with like 3 food. So he has uses basically everywhere, and I use him basically as often as I can. He's a great champion. One of the most impactful champions that you could get, and you know what, he was free, so pretty insane champion. So he comes in here at number 7 as my most used champion. Moving on, we have number 6, and it's going to be emic Trunkheart. So emic Trunkheart was a void legendary fusion. He was I believe nerfed just before he was released. He had some interesting interaction with his A1 that basically increased the shield by the value was too high, so then they capped the increased value by only 10,000, which made him not so crazy for like the cadaver teams, but he's still insane, right? He has the shield decreased cooldown on all allies skilled by 1, and then he has the unkillable on the whole team. So he has such an interesting kit, right? He places unkillable on the whole team, and he has a cooldown reduction. For me, he's part of some of my teams for the hardest dungeons. So I use him every day for Iron Twins. He's part of my Shogun team. He makes it super easy. He's just a great champion. He's actually a pretty good carry throughout the game as well if you get him kind of early. He protects your team with the unkillable, with the shields, has utility with the cooldown reduction. But yeah, like I said, I use this guy daily for my Iron Twins grind. And if I start grinding Shogun, he's in there as well. He makes that dungeon and that team very easy to build. You can also use him for clan boss. If you have him for clan boss, he can be your ticket to ultra nightmare clan boss. So just a great overall champion. And yeah, he comes in here at number 6 for me. All right, moving on to number 5, we have Mr. Nutman himself. So back-to-back fusions coming in here, being my most used champion. So you can see I actually have 2 nuts, so I'll show you guys one of them here. But basically, Nut is in so many teams for me. He's in my Fire Knight hard team. He's in my Hydra teams. He's in my Shogun team. He's in my Sand Devil team. He's in tons and tons of teams. He makes a lot of the super difficult content against bosses much more easy. He makes Fire Knight hard difficulty possible. Basically, I think without Nut it would be very impossible for like most of the player base. But with Nut, there's lots of different combinations. He's probably one of the most impactful fusions that we've ever had. I still think he's probably better for like most people. I guess Arman's would be close, but I think Nut, his impact has just been tremendous. And he comes in here at number 5. I use him in so many different comps that he definitely deserves a spot here. Even though I don't necessarily use him daily, I use him in so many teams that I think he deserves a number 5 spot here. All right, coming in at number 4, I got Mr. Teras himself. So here's my Teras. You could argue that it could be any kind of nuker, but basically I use Teras. He's not like a regular nuker, right? We all know Teras is very special. He's the tankiest DPS champion in the game and one of the best DPS champions in the game. So I use him basically for anything arena related, and I do arena every day, so arena, he gets used every day. He also gets used in my Hydra teams just as a damage dealer. He does insane amounts of damage as well there. I also use him in some of my Doom Tower waves, Doom Tower teams, to clear some of the waves and also some of the bosses, for example like Griffin or like the molten dragon, for example, just as a straight damage dealer. So I use Teras very frequently, just for pure damage in lots of teams. He's just an incredible champion. We don't need to really talk about him too much, but he comes in here at number 4 in terms of the amount that I use him. So moving on to number 3, we have my one and only mythical champion, Lady Mikage. I know it's actually kind of surprising that Lady Mikage is here, but basically I use her every day. I use her for anything arena related. She's part of my Fire Knight Hard 10 team. She makes it incredibly efficient. She's part of my Hydra teams, also incredibly efficient as well. She pumps out insane damage with her ally attack. With her A1, she can send in like a Harima or Mishinaki, for example. He just sends in some of these awesome Shadowkin damage dealers. She does a ton of damage. I love this champion. She does so much stuff. Her kit is just insane. And you know, as a free, like, she's free because she's like fusible. Obviously not easy to get, but as a fusible champion, she's actually insane. And you don't actually need to fully book her out, which is the best part of it. The only real thing that you need to book out really is her ally attack, in case you want to use her for like Fire Knight Hard 10, for example. You need the proper cooldowns there, but otherwise the rest of her kit is totally serviceable without books. And yeah, she's my only mythical champion, and I actually use her quite a bit. I use her basically every day in a lot of different places where I didn't really expect to kind of use her. Like, I didn't expect to use her in Hydra. I thought I didn't need her to use her in Fire Knight, but she fits perfectly well in both of those areas. And of course, she's such a stud in any arena related content. So coming in at number 3, we got Lady Mikage. All right, coming in at number 2, we got Geomancer. So an epic coming in here at number 2. So the reason why Geomancer basically sneaks in here at number 2 is because I use Geomancer every day in 2 different areas, and there's not I don't think there's a champion on my list that I use in 2 areas every day without fail. I use Geomancer in my clan boss team, and I use Geomancer for Iron Twins. So this Geomancer you guys are looking at here, he's for my clan boss team, and then I also have this Geomancer, which I use for Iron Twins. He has super high accuracy, for example. And then this Geomancer looks like it's been geared for Cintranos or something. But yeah, so Geomancer comes in here in the 2nd spot. We know Geomancer is insane for dealing damage against bosses with his HP burn and then his passive. Make sure you guys have War Master on him, not anything else. But yeah, he's just an insane champion. Arguably one of the best epics in the whole game. Game-changing epic for sure. Funny story, I don't have him on my other account. I passed on his guaranteed ancient event long time ago. I basically said to myself that, oh, I'll pick him up eventually, no big deal. I pulled so many epics, but you know, it's been 2.5 years later and I still don't have Geomancer on my 2nd account. So it's just a hard lesson to learn, but learn to live without him. But he's such a great little dwarf, and he definitely deserves the number 2 spot as my most used champion on my account. All right, guys, and for the number 1 spot, I don't know if you guys can guess who the number 1 spot is. I'll give you guys maybe 3 seconds to figure it out. Maybe write it down in the comments below or something. But I'm sure you guys would totally agree that the number 1 spot goes to Prince Kyrmar. Prince Kyrmar. okay, we know that Prince Kyrmar is just an absolutely insane champion. He gets used basically for his reset ability. You can even have him in some spots where he's not leveled up. He doesn't need to be leveled up in some spots, but basically he has the full reset on your whole team. This allows you to basically have, for example, like a wave clearing team, like with Seer or Poison Explosion team, go kill one wave, have Prince Kyrmar reset, and then they'll kill the second wave. So that's how you do it for some of the dungeons. So Prince Kyrmar shows up in lots and lots of teams, mainly dungeon teams, mainly the fastest dungeon teams, because he allows the reset of abilities, giving you 2 instances of full damage, full skill resets on your whole team. I use him for Dragon, my fastest Dragon teams. I use him for Ice Golem, my fastest Ice Golem teams. I use him for Sand Devil. I use him for Arena. I use him for Hydra. He's just an incredible champion everywhere in the game. You could even use him in Spider as well. I don't use him personally in Spider, but you could use him in Spider. You could also use him in Shogun. I personally don't use him in Shogun as well. And I have this build currently set up on him as a build that I never have to take off. Basically, this build is for my Hydra team. Reflex allows more possibility of his reset ability. And this build works for all my applications of him in all my dungeons. He's at the perfect speed to do what he needs to do. He somehow has this max crit rate, which is kind of weird, but definitely don't need the max crit rate. He's in my Fire Knight hard team. He's basically in every dungeon for me, outside of Spider and Shogun, but he can belong to those teams. And I even use him in Hydra and occasionally in Arena as well. So Prince Kyrmar here, I think, is a no-brainer as a #1 most picked, most used for a endgame account. Let me know in the comments below if you guys agree with this list. Let me know what is your most used champion on your account. And like I said, this is this is for my endgame account. These are champions you kind of expect to be using very often, very frequently. And yeah, I mean, any surprises here, let me know in the comments below. I love to hear it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you all, and hopefully you guys have a good day. And I'll see you guys in the next video.